I mean, an average baobab tree probably lives to about 1,000 years. The oldest that we know is 2,500 years old. So if you can imagine, a tree that was born 500 BC is just getting to the end of its life now. Zimbabwe, my home country, is very dry, and we've got this natural vegetation, but people clear it, remove it, and then go and plant a crop, usually a crop that doesn't actually come from there, and then stand there and scratch their head when, guess what, that crop doesn't do that well. And I was just looking at it and thinking, this is just an insane approach. We've got these indigenous plants, which we know survive here. They don't die every time we have a dry year. In fact, they thrive on it. So why can't we turn them into the main source of people's livelihoods? And of course, I got to baobab because it's the biggest, most spectacular, most beautiful of all the indigenous plants in our part of the world. What we are doing, or what the harvesters that we support are doing, is to wild harvest indigenous plants from their native environment. Without really interfering in any way in the ecosystem. All they're doing is just removing what's already there. Of course, primarily for us, the most important thing is to make sure that we have this, ongoing demand for baobab. We also support a lot of educational initiatives in our harvesting areas. That's something that's really important to us. It's also really important to the harvesters. So when we've looked at the things on which harvesters spend their money, education is always the top one. We will channel funds into scholarships for the kids in our area to enable them to go to school, or to enable more of them to go to school for longer. So the nutritional value of baobab is complex and multi-layered. It's exceptionally high in vitamin C. There's a fantastic mineral profile as well in baobab, including calcium, potassium, magnesium, and iron. The other thing with baobab is the fiber content. So baobab powder is 50% fiber. About 6-7 years ago, a research institute in the UK at Oxford Brookes University hypothesized that if you consume baobab at the same time as a refined carbohydrate, which would normally lead to a high insulin spike, you would expect to see that adding baobab lowered that. What they found was it lowered it far more than could be explained simply from the fiber in it. And they then hypothesized that it was a result of the addition of the polyphenols in baobab as well as the fiber. So if you are pre-diabetic, you're worried about your insulin levels, adding baobab in with your other carbohydrates can significantly lower those insulin spikes. But then there's another element to baobab, which I think is the one that is probably the most significant. So traditionally, across Africa, baobab is taken as an immune booster, strengthen your immune system. Now, so what's the science behind that? Okay, at the superficial level, obviously vitamin C, but there's much more to it. There is a direct causal link between baobab and your intestinal microbiome and the health of it. Baobab is absolutely fantastic for giving you a healthy, strong microbiome. I don't know if you can hear, but when you shake it, inside what you've got is a whole load of seeds that are surrounded with powder. All we do is we crack the fruit open, we pull out the pulp and seed from the inside, and then we separate the powder off from the fiber and from the seed. And then what you get is that powder, and it is a completely raw, completely natural product, as close as it could possibly be to straight off the tree.